More than 1.5 million people have fled their homes since war broke out in eastern Ukraine 5 years ago. But on the streets of the capital Kiev, you'd barely notice. In spite of the fighting and a deep economic downturn, Ukrainian society has been able to shoulder the burden. The refugee camps of 2014 have, for the most part, been consigned to history. Most displaced people have found jobs and somewhere to live. But as the country elects a new president, Ukraine's displaced people are having to fight to cast their votes. One of those people is Nelly Salyutina. 5 years ago, she left her hometown Donetsk in a hurry, with just a couple of suitcases in hand.
I was driving to work with my husband. Suddenly there were armed men blocking the road. They were pointing their weapons at anyone who dared to talk back. I told my husband to buy train tickets. We need to get out of here. It all happened very fast. I came home from work and we left the same evening. When I locked the door, I already knew that I would never be coming back.
Nelly and her family left everything behind: their home, their car, and their jobs. Soon after, Donetsk fell under the control of pro-Russian separatists. The family found shelter with friends in Kiev. But on their first morning in the capital, their hosts had something important to do: vote. A poll that Nelly and her husband were excluded from because they were still registered in Donetsk.
You see your friends voting, but you can't take part yourself. If you're able to vote, you don't feel the need so strongly. But we were in Kiev, the same people as before, but without the right to vote. That was really tough for me.
Since then, Nelly has made a point of not letting any elections pass her by. But it's not easy. Each time there's a vote, she has to go and register from scratch. Like Nelly, most of Ukraine's internally displaced people are still registered in their homes in what's now separatist-held territory. Ukrainian law ties voting rights to citizens' place of registration. But registering somewhere new is no easy task. Most landlords do not allow their tenants to register, and even if they can, it means losing their refugee status and the benefits that go with that. In the first round of the presidential election, comedian and political newcomer Volodymyr Zelensky triggered a political earthquake, picking up almost twice as many votes as the incumbent Petro Poroshenko. It's a nail-biting contest that Nelly does not want to miss out on. For the second round, Nelly has to go and register all over again. In theory, that's only possible after the results of the first round have been officially announced. But that would leave just a matter of days to register ahead of the deadline. Nelly has heard that some election offices are willing to make things easier for internal refugees, accepting applications to vote ahead of schedule. In the queue, she meets old friends from Donetsk. They, too, are desperate to vote.
Having a say about the future of my own country is really important to me. We keep coming here, and there are just so many people waiting. We keep coming back, but the queue doesn't get any shorter. Voting is my right, but I'm having to fight for it. I think they're doing this on purpose to stop us from voting. This isn't a question of negligence. They could make it all much easier, put more people on the job.
Here in this Kiev election office, the officials are not willing to make any exceptions, even for refugees. Nelly will have to come back again after the results of the first round are officially announced. One thing is sure: the queues will only get longer. Experts say the current election law is out of date. Millions of Ukrainians live far from home, some of them as refugees, others in search of work. Linking the right to vote to registration, a legal formality that's very hard to obtain, is simply unfair, they argue. Meanwhile, a draft law to make voting easier is gathering dust in Parliament. The war in Donbass has turned Nelly's life upside down. In Donetsk, she managed a chain of sports shops. In Kiev, she now works to help other people like herself. Every day, her organization receives hundreds of calls from people wanting to know how they can vote.
We had many calls from students. Many of them were registered at their universities. But as soon as they graduate, they have a problem. They can't register back home in separatist-held territory, and here on the government-held side, no one wants to let them register. There's a big group of people who were shut out of these elections. These are young, active people, the very ones these elections are held for, but they can't take part.
It's a problem Nelly knows about firsthand. Her son was just 13 when they left Donetsk. Later this year, he'll reach voting age. Whether or not he'll be able to cast a ballot, his mother can't be sure.